Welcome to the second tutorial in this series. In this tutorial, we're going to be covering how to customize the TrainEasy application. So, I've opened a TrainEasy application I've created previously, so it has some data already pre-populated. So let's open our front end. Now, if you want to get to your front end from the back end, there are different ways you can do it. If you notice, my URL is mydemo.traineasy.net/admin and some other strings. You could actually just copy the initial domain name, the subdomain name, which is mydemo.traineasy.net. That takes you to your front end. But the easiest way, of course, is just to click the TrainEasy icon over here. So I'm going to click that on a new tab, and that opens the student, my student front end. So let's just wait for that to load. Okay, so this is my front end. Now, TrainEasy gives you the ability to customize different aspects of the look and feel of your website, of your application, as well as the functionality, certain functionality. So, if you go back to the back end, let's scroll down to settings. This is the section where you do most of your configuration. So the first option is homepage widgets. Then we have custom student fields, site settings, site theme, payment methods, SMS setup, roles, administrators and instructors, grades, and notification messages. So let's start with homepage widgets. Now, the homepage widgets are the various features of your homepage. Now, one thing I want to explain: TrainEasy supports multiple themes. As at the time of this recording, there are 3 different themes that you can choose from. So each theme has some elements that are unique to it. For example, the theme we're using here has this section, this image, and a call-out text over here. Then it has this parallax effect over here, a testimonial section, and the footer. However, you could add widgets to your TrainEasy application that are universal to whichever theme that you use. Over here, we go to my homepage widgets. I have text and button. If I click this down arrow to expand this widget, I can see, first of all, you can see what type of widget it is. Over here, it shows that it's a text and button. And over here, we can see the text that the widget has, and then the button text and an optional button link. So this widget is what is displayed over here. We can see the same text that was in the editor in the previous tab, and the button text here, which is also learn more. So we have different kind of widgets that you can add to your home page. So if I click the Add Widget button, a pop-up comes up asking me to select the widget type. So if clicking this, select this drop-down option, you can see the different kind of widget types that we have. You can add a slideshow, text and button, which is what we have currently. We can have a featured, which enables us to add featured courses or sessions. We can have a session calendar, which is a tabular display of your ongoing sessions. You can add just plain text. You can add blog post, or you can add the sign-up form, which makes it easy for students to sign up. So let's just add the featured, for example. So I'll select featured, sort order, I can leave it as 1, and click create. Now the sort order, a quick note about the sort order. The sort order specifies the order which your widgets, are displayed on the home page. So over here, I have this as a sort order of 1. I believe my text and button too also has a sort order of 1. So you should typically try to avoid having multiple sort orders which are the same. So if that was 1, and I want my featured to be guaranteed to come after the text and button widget, I'll just change this to 2. So next, you have various drop downs that enable you select different widgets to appear, different courses or sessions that will appear on this widget. So if I select, I can add my Cold Calling Mastery online course, and I can also add my Management Essentials course. Alright, so now I'll click Save Changes. Also to note, there's this enabled button, which is the status for the widget. So if it's enabled, the widget will show on the home page. If it's disabled, the widget will not show on the home page. So I've saved my changes. If I go back now to my home page and I click on the refresh button, alright, the page has been refreshed. So if I scroll down now, there you have it. You can see the featured widget now appears on the home page. And also the featured widget has a browse courses button, which enables you to browse all your online courses only. And then there's browse sessions, which enable you to browse your training sessions. Now, a quick note about courses and sessions. We'll cover that later in a later tutorial. But basically, courses are online courses where students take exclusively online, so they get to take online classes. Now, sessions are typically events that happen physically. So if you have a physical training program, we call it a session on TrainEasy. So that's it essentially for creating widgets on TrainEasy. So let's go to the other option under settings. We have custom student fields. Now, student fields are essentially, let me arrange this back. Yeah, a field, custom data that you'd like to collect from your students. Now, if I go to the student page here, if I go to my account, register, this will open the student registration page. By default, we have some fields which all students must supply. So we have the first name, the last name, a mobile number, email, and the passwords. Also, there's this captcha here for verification for to prevent spam. So, but what if you want to collect additional information from your students? Say, for example, I would like to collect the residential address of a student. How can I do that? Well, it's possible with TrainEasy, and that's what this custom student fields is for. It enables you to add custom fields to the registration form. Now, if I click the Add Field button, I get to add a field on this page. Now, the label is the label basically is the name of the field. So if I have, if I enter in home address, now the input type is the type of field that the student is going to see. The different types available are the text field, which is similar to this, a text area. Now these are fields that span multiple lines, so they are good for entering information that is quite lengthy, so that students don't just type on one long line. So for a home address, I believe this would be the appropriate option. The other options are a drop down, which is like a select control, which gives students multiple options to choose from. Then there's a radio button, which gives you different options, and the student can only choose one. These are just those round buttons that give you multiple options. Then there's a checkbox. These are square boxes that students can choose multiple options from. And then there's a file/image. This enables you allow your students to submit a file or an image while they're registering or updating their profiles. So let's select text area. Now the mandatory option, you can specify if this field is required or not. So I'm going to say yes, because that means I want my students to have to supply their address, otherwise they can't register. The field hint, this is a semi-transparent option that that appears on the control if it supports it. For example, if I remove home address on this label, you can see this is what a field hint would look like. It's called a placeholder, but over here we call it a field hint. So let's enter, say, let us have your residential address. Okay, now if you remember when I talked about sort orders in the widgets section, a sort order defines the order that your fields or the elements are going to appear, and it's always in ascending order, meaning the smallest sort order will appear at the very top. So let's just enter in 1, and over here you enter, is it student editable or not? What it means, essentially, what this option means is, can a student actually enter in this field? Now, if it's not student editable, it means that the field can only be updated by an administrator. So now let's say you ask what the use of this is. Let's say I want to create a field for something like a student's unique code, which I don't want the student to be able to modify, but I want it to use it as an identifier for such a student. Then I can set it editable to no. But in this case, for the residential address, I want the student to fill it, so I make it yes. So let's click Save Changes. Alright, it says record added. So if I go back to my registration form and I refresh the page. Okay, so if I scroll down now, you can see the home address option is now available. And you can see it says, let us have your residential address. This is the field hint that I spoke about. So I can now, as a student, enter in my my address. And of course, when you type in the box, the hint goes away. So that's it for the custom student fields. So let's go back to our settings section. And the next is site settings. Now, the site settings page gives you a whole lot of options for customizing your TrainEasy application. So here we have different tabs on the settings page. The first is the general tab. So this general tab, if you remember when you set up your TrainEasy application, the setup wizard, some of the data that you entered on the setup wizard can be controlled later on by on the settings page, especially this general tab. So over here we have your country and currency, your site name, your homepage title. Now the site name is quite important. It's what is used to send out information to your students. It is what is by default on the homepage for the default theme, which is if you don't have a logo, the site name will be over here. So, but so it's important that you set the site name. Typically, it's the name of your company. Now, the homepage title. This is what is displayed. If you go to the front end, on the browser bar here, on the tab here, you can see over here I have informatics. This corresponds to the homepage title over here. It is very important for presentation purposes, and most importantly for search engine optimization, because most times this is what appears on your search engine result pages as the heading of a search engine result item. Now we have homepage meta description. This is also mostly for search engine optimization. It's not displayed anywhere on the home page or any other page, but it's displayed mostly on search engine result pages. Basically, you would want to put something like the description of your company on this page. So your admin email, this is the email that the application sends out notification emails with. So your students will see this as the from sender of the email. Now, enable automatic enrollment. This specifies if students should be enrolled into, it's usually good if you have maybe just one upcoming training session. It's not doesn't apply for online courses. So if you have an upcoming training session and you want to eliminate the need for students to manually select the session, you can specify it to no. Most times this option should be set to no. Then use SSL. Now you'd use this if you'd want to make your site secure. Now TrainEasy, we support SSL, free SSL. So if you select this, your site can use HTTPS as opposed to just HTTP. Then header scripts. This and footer script. This is an advanced feature. It's if you'd use this if you want to add mostly widgets or tracking code into your application. So you'd use it for things like adding Google Analytics tracking code, and things like Facebook or AdWords retargeting pixels and things like that. So footer script, you'd also use it to add widgets to your site. So you could use it for things like social media sharing buttons and any other kind of widget that says you should add content to your page before the closing body tag. Then a discourse short name. This is important if you would want to enable commenting on your blog, because TrainEasy has a blogging feature, and so if you want to enable comments, then you should enter a discourse short name. All you need to do is go to discourse.com and register, and then you get a short name which you can save here. Then discussion instructions. TrainEasy has a discussion feature. Basically, it enables communication between students and instructors. So it's actually this instructor chat option. So if you want to add instructions that students should follow before creating questions, then you can add that information here. Now show session fees. By default, this is yes. It's if you want to show prices for your courses or your online sessions, then you make this yes. If on the other hand all your courses are free, then you can make it no, and then no prices will be shown. IP address. This is technical. If you want to add our IP, and then it just secures your cron activities, really technical stuff. Now send class reminders. TrainEasy has sent out different reminders for different things, such as upcoming classes, upcoming homework, upcoming tests, and things like that. So if you want to enable this, by default it's yes, you make it yes. And reminder day, this specifies how many days to an event or to a scheduled item that the reminders would go out. So if this is one, means that if a class happens tomorrow, then the reminder starts coming out today, notifying the students that the class is coming tomorrow. So this is a time zone. You can specify the time zone based on where you are located, and so your reminders will go out respecting your time zone. Now the reminder hour specifies what hour of the day out of the 24-hour period that your reminders, because the reminders go out at the top of the hour. So if I set my reminder hour to 10, then my reminders are going to go out at 10 a.m. prompt. Now live chat code. TrainEasy enables you to add live chat to your TrainEasy application, meaning that your students can chat with you. So you can use any chat option feature of your choice, any chat service rather of your choice, such as talk.to, Zopim chat, or Olac chat, and a whole lot of chat applications that services that you can use. And each service typically gives you a chat code that you're meant to embed on your site. So you just paste the code from your provider over there. Then your contact address, you simply enter in your location, your contact telephone number, and then your contact email. Now your contact email is the email that you want to be displayed to your students. It may or may not be your admin email. That's your choice. Then the next tab is logo and icon. The logo basically is the logo that is displayed on your main, all the pages of your front end. The icon, the favicon, on the other hand, is what is displayed on the browser, on the browser tabs that your students are using. So over here we do not have any favicon set, so which is why we have this default placeholder over here. So that's it for logo and icon. Menu. This tab gives you the ability to set different options, different menu options to be displayed or not displayed. For example, we have show online courses. For example, here we have this option that says online courses. So if we set show online courses to no, then this online courses option will be removed. We have show upcoming sessions. So if I remove this, say for example, you strictly want to use TrainEasy for delivering online training, then you probably want to remove this upcoming sessions option here. So if I set this to no, it takes that away. And so that's how it is also for a lot of all these other options. It enables you to either hide or show various options on the menu, and when a student logs in, their navigation to some of these options apply to that. Over here we have labels. Now labels enable you to change the text that is used on various pages in TrainEasy. Basically, if you see a text that you like to change, you can check here to see if it is listed. For example, if I want to change this from online courses to just courses, for example, I can enter in a new value here, and then my online courses text here will be changed. So the next tab is registration. Over here I can choose to enable or disable student registration. So if I set it to no, this registration form will not be enabled. Then registration instructions, you can optionally add instructions that you want your students to follow before registering. Such instructions will be displayed over here once it's enabled. So successful registration email. If you fill this, your students will get this information once they're successfully registered. It will be emailed to them. Then send alert for enrollment. This shows if you set this to yes, you will get an email notification every time a student enrolls on your TrainEasy application. Send alert for registrations. Now registration and enrollment happens when a student enrolls into a training session or an online course. Registration, on the other hand, happens when your students just create an account on your TrainEasy application. Then we have confirm student emails. By default it is no, but if you want to verify that every student registered with a valid email address, then you can set this to yes. What happens then is that your students would get an email prompting them to click a link to verify their email address. Failing to do this, the student's account on the TrainEasy application will not be active. So next we have the mail tab. The mail protocol by default is mail. You can choose to make it SMTP. This is some technical stuff. If you want to use a different email provider, such as Amazon SES or SendInGrid or different transactional email providers, you can actually change it to STP and use it. Or if you want to just use maybe your own company's SMTP server, you can change this to SMTP and enter in your SMTP credentials. But you can very easily just use our default email sending server. So next we have some information. Now these are some specific pages that appear on TrainEasy. For example, you have your terms and conditions page and your privacy policy page. If I go back to my front end and scroll down, I can see I have a terms and conditions and privacy policy. So the content of those pages can be edited here. Finally, I have my social login option. Now this you would use if you want to enable social login for your students. We currently support Facebook and Google social login. So you can, if you make it yes, you need to input in your Facebook application secrets as well as your Facebook application ID. So that's it basically for your settings page. Next, let's look at the site theme. I mentioned earlier in the previous tutorial that TrainEasy supports multiple themes. this is the default theme that you, at the time of this tutorial, that is installed when you sign up for a TrainEasy application. However, you can change your theme. We have a classic theme, we have Learn Plus, and the currently active one, which is Learning. So if you'd like to customize your theme, say for example, I want to change this background image that is on my home page, and if I also want to change these courses for web and mobile, you remember that there was no way to change this using the homepage widget or the settings page. So these elements are actually unique to this theme, which is why it is they are configured on the theme modification customization page. So if I go back to my themes and I hit customize, let's open that. So here we have the customization page for the learning theme. So we have different themes, different tabs here that enable us to change different aspects of the learning theme. So over here I can change some colors. I can change the primary color. The primary color basically is the color that is most prominent, that stands out on the theme. In this case it will be this blue color here. So that's primary color. There's the primary button color, the page title background color, and the page title text color. Now the page titles are, like if I go to this article page here, let me just move this back and move this back. Alright, so this is the page title. So this is the page title text color. It's currently white, and the background color here is blue. So so I can change all that here. This is a color picker. So to change it, all I'll do is to select a color and select it and select it. So say for example I want to change the page title background color. If I select a different color here, let me select red. Look for a shade of red here. Alright, click OK. When I click Save Changes, alright, if I go back here and refresh, and if I refresh the page here, you can see the background color has changed to red. So also the footer for this theme refers to this area over here. So I can change the background color for the footer, I can change the text color, I can change the newsletter form code. You know there's a newsletter here, and the newsletter field over here. This is just the default placeholder. This doesn't really do anything. If you want to collect emails from your newsletter subscribers, you need to subscribe for a service like MailChimp or Constant Contact, and they would give you a code that you're meant to embed on your site. So you can just paste that here and save. Doing so, this default form will disappear and will be replaced by your custom form. Then there's even the option to hide the newsletter sign up form completely. So if you don't want to any newsletter code to be there, you can just set this to no. Now there's site credits. The site credits basically is something like maybe copyright, and then you want to put HTML code here, then your company name. I'll make this my company. So the copyright, the site credits shows over here. So if I click Save Changes and I refresh my page, so you can see the site credit has changed. I have copyright at copy in my company. So by default it shows your company name, but if you change it, it will now put your custom site credits text over here. So let's go to the home page. Now on this home page I can now customize, let's open this home page. I can change this background image, I can change this text. So now note that if you install another theme, most of these options will be different. So all these options are just for the learning theme, which is the default theme when you sign up. So over here I can change my homepage cover photo, which is this, I can actually choose to hide it completely. So if I make this no, it'll be hidden completely. Then the title, which is courses for web and mobile, and the photo text, which is this and this, I can change that over here. Then over here I can have show parallax photo. The parallax photo refers to this image of this guy relaxing in front of his screen. So if I want to hide it completely, I'll just change this to no. And if I want to change the photo, I'll just hit browse and select the photograph from my image manager. So that's the loading, but I'll just close it for now. So then there's the photo title, which has to do with this text over here. And then there's the text that appears, which is this over here. So that's for the parallax, and that's for the homepage tab. Then there's the homepage reviews. So beneath the parallax image, you have different reviews that typically you would want to put maybe reviews, some good reviews from your students or users of your application. So you can choose to hide reviews completely by setting that to no, or you can now, if it's yes, you can enter each review. The text that you enter here is like this text over here. There's the name, review one name, which is the name of the reviewer, and then there's review one company, so you put at whatever company you have here, and then review stars, which is the number of stars that you want. So it's the maximum is 5, so you can select from 1 to 5 stars. Then we have the photograph, which is basically the photograph of your reviewer. You can just select that by browsing your application, your image library. So this is what the image library looks like. So then all the other review options are just identical to the first one. So you can set all your reviews over here. Then we have the navigation bar. This is the navigation bar. It's the bar that shows at the very top here. Here you can set the background color for the navigation bar, and you can also set the font color. Finally, on this template customization page, we have our social icons. Scrolling to the bottom, you can see some social icons here. So you can set each URL for your social media pages here. If you do not set any input for a page, then that icon is going to disappear. So if I do not have an Instagram page, all I need to do is to remove that hash that was there and save. And then if I refresh, yeah, I will see that the Instagram tab is no longer there. So that's it basically for your theme customization. So let's go back to our settings page, and now the next page that we're going to look at are your payment methods. It's super important that you configure this, because this is how your students are going to pay for your courses or sessions. So we have TrainEasy supports different payment gateways and payment methods that you can choose from. So scrolling down on this page, you can see a list of the various payment gateways that we supply. We have to checkout, we have PayPal, Paystack, and a whole list of different payment gateways. So over the search box enables you to just search through. So if I want PayPal, I can just type and it brings up just that payment gateway. Also, you can filter your payment gateways by currency. So if I want payment gateways that support Euro, for example, I'll just select it and it shows me the payment gateways that support this currency. So if you want to install a new payment gateway, say for example I want to install bank deposits, so it's already enabled, but what I would have done is just to click edit. So on the edit page, you can see the fields that are required for this particular payment method. So for bank deposits, I can first of all change the label The label is what the student sees as the name of the option. So for bank deposit transfer, this would usually suffice. So over here, I'll probably want to put my bank details, and the status shows whether or not it is enabled. So if it's disabled, then this option will not be available to my students. So let me bank deposit and transfer is what we'll call a payment method. A payment gateway, on the other hand, is something like PayPal, which enables students actually make online payments for your sessions and courses. So if I select PayPal, for example, I get to enter in my PayPal client ID or my PayPal secret. These are things that you'd get when you sign up on the PayPal website. So that's it essentially for managing your payment methods. Next thing is SMS setup. Now TrainEasy can send out automatic reminder SMS notifications to your students. I mentioned earlier on that it sends out email notifications, but your students can also get SMS notifications. This is very important for, very useful for students for things like class reminders. So in case they miss the email, you can also hope they will see your SMS, your text message. So the sender name, this enable SMS option enables you make the SMS enabled or disabled. So if it's not checked, then the system will not send out SMS notifications. So if I have my sender name here, for gateways that support it, your sender name is the name that will show on the phone as the sender when students see your text message. So we have currently 3 SMS providers. Now we have Cheap Global SMS, we have Clickatel, Smart SMS Solutions. Over here we show the native country that these gateways are from, because typically you'd want to select a gateway that is native to your country because the rates will most likely be cheaper that way. So if I want to install Clickatel, for example, I'll just click the install button for Clickatel. It says gateway installed. Now Clickatel requires that you get an API key if you want it to integrate with their gateway. So I'll just put the gateway here and click save. So that's how my Clickatel would work. So if I go back to SMS setup, if I want to uninstall Clickatel, there's now the option to configure it or uninstall. So I'm just going to go ahead and click uninstall for Clickatel, and then it says gateway uninstalled, and so that takes care of that. So now let's go to roles. When you sign up on TrainEasy, by default we have 3 roles. Now these 3 roles are fixed and can't be deleted, and we have the super administrator role, which can't be edited at all. The other roles can be edited but can't be deleted. But you can also add new roles which you can edit and delete. Now a role basically governs the permissions that an admin can have on your TrainEasy backend. So if you want to create an account, say for a staff member, and you want them to be able to just have access to do a few things on your TrainEasy account, you can add a new role for them. So let's say I want to add a new role for my accountant. Let's say I want them to just be able to see payments that have been received. So I can create a role and call it, let's say, accounting. And then here you get to specify the permissions that you want this role to have. So if I want anyone created with the accounting role to be able to do everything on my TrainEasy application, I can select this checkbox which selects every single permission. So typically you wouldn't want to do that, because that's like making them a super administrator. Super admins have all permissions. Admins and instructors have different permissions which you can view if you click the edit button for those roles. So let's say for my accounting on sessions, let's say I just want them to be able to view payments. I could just maybe click view transactions and view payments, and then I'll click save for this role. So if I click Save Changes, alright, so you can see for this accounting role, I now have the edit button and the delete button for this role. So I can choose to remove this role or edit it however I see fit. So let's go next to the, we're almost there, administrators and instructors. This enables you manage all the admins or instructors on your TrainEasy application. So here you can see the name, the email, and the role that this person has, so that each admin has. So you can see the instructors and you can see the super admins that we have here. So next we have grades. Your grades, this section enables you to set the minimum and maximum scores and the grade letters for things such as tests and assignments on TrainEasy. We're going to cover tests and assignments in a later tutorial, but just suffice to say that you can set whatever standard that you use for determining who gets an A, who gets a B, who gets a C, D, and so on and so forth. So by default, we use this standard of 0 to 39 being an F, 40 to 44 being an E, and so on. So you can set whatever standard that you want on that page. Finally, let's go to our notification messages. I stated before that TrainEasy sends out various notifications. You can get notified when the students get notified when an upcoming class, where there's an upcoming assignment and things like that. So if I click email notifications, you can actually now modify the content that goes out to each student. So I can see the message that so I'll know which notification I'm modifying. We have upcoming class reminder, which is for physical locations. We have upcoming class reminders for online classes. So, and there's a description for this notification. Like here we say that this message is sent to students to remind them when the class is scheduled to hold. So here you can modify the content of each email notification that goes out to your students. So if I open this page, I can modify the subject of the email and also the message. This is the default format that is set. If I click the placeholder tabs, this just lists the different placeholders that you can use in your template. Now the placeholders are automatically replaced by the relevant information. So if it's an upcoming class, this class name placeholder is replaced by the name of the class, and in the body of the email, it's also the same. All the placeholders are replaced. So you can get a description of the different placeholders by clicking the placeholder tab. Now this is the default message. Say for example, I make modifications to this template, but I would like to revert to the original message. You can simply click the default message and hit the restore default button. This automatically changes the message back to the original template. So also we have our SMS notifications. You can also set the text messages that are sent to students. So if I click the edit button on this, you can see obviously it's similar to the email modification page, but there's no subject because text messages don't have a subject. So you can set your SMS there. Also, there's a counter here that shows you, for your convenience, the amount of text you are entering. But you have to note something on this page, that the actual SMS length may vary if you use placeholders, because the system can't determine the length of the placeholder beforehand. So if your session name, for example, or your class date is longer than this string, then your text length may not be 11 characters. So that's it. That completes the customization, the site customization feature. In the next tutorial, we're going to talk about how you can set up your online courses and sessions.